Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dear students, today we shall discuss the various approaches of research methodology, and this is lecture first of series of 2. In this lecture we shall discuss approaches in general, and in second lecture of this series I shall discuss with you the approaches which are particularly applied in political science, international relations, and other social sciences. So, normally there are many approaches, however, we shall discuss here the 4 approaches: qualitative approach, quantitative approach, scientific approach, and comparative study approach. The comparative study approach is more relevant to political science, international relations, public administration, public policy, and social sciences. So details of this approach will be discussed in the second lecture of this series. Qualitative approach. Qualitative approach to promote greater understanding of the way things are and why the things are in that specific shape. We find out the originality and we develop new theories by applying this approach. In qualitative approach, we evaluate the behavior, and it is a rationale that some specific behavior occurs in a context. So we investigate the behavior as well as the context in which that behavior take place. So for application of this approach, we have to follow the following are principles: collection of extensive narrative data. For this, for qualitative approach, we need extensive and narrative data because we have to develop some generalization, and generalization cannot be established, developed without extensive data. We apply many variables For our deduction, we have to apply a number of variables, dependent, independent, extraneous, intervening, various kinds of variables we have to apply to conclude our research in a qualitative approach. Extended period of time, because this aspect needs a deep-rooted research for creation of new theory or to amendment any theory. So, extended period of time is required for that. Naturalistic setting. In this, we always go for the naturalistic setting, and this is multi-method as well. So, qualitative approach, you can say, through which we examine, investigate the originality and why those things are in that, and why, what is that thing. Basically, these are discussed in this, and for this purpose we have to investigate the behavior and the context in which that behavior takes place. Quantitative approach to describe. Quantitative approach is applied to describe current conditions or to investigate relationships. Current conditions are to investigate relationships, and relationships including cause and effect relationship. So, relationship, correlation, cause and effect relationships. So, these details you know better earlier. If you need any kind of elaboration about this, you can ask the question later on. In this approach, we apply or we need collection of numerical data numerically. Secondly, manipulation of variables. In this, sometimes we manipulate the variables according to our requirement. Natural and controlled setting. Natural and controlled setting. In qualitative approach, we go for the natural setting, while in quantitative approach, we have option to rather apply natural or controlled settings according to our requirement. Multi-methods, instrumentation, and data analysis. So, these are various applications which we apply to apply the quantitative approach. Sometimes we apply this approach for current conditions and for the descriptive type of research as well. So the current condition is evaluated normally through the quantitative approach. Third is scientific approach. Our scientific research involves induction of hypothesis based on observations, deduction of implications, and confirmation or disconfirmation of hypothesis. Scientific approach involves induction of hypothesis, and induction of hypothesis needs rather some pre-research, so which would be based on observations and you can say various implications. So hypothesis is deducted from observations and deductions for deduction of implications. And in this research, we confirm or disconfirm the hypothesis. The goal of all scientific endeavors is to explain, predict, and control phenomena. As we earlier discussed, so in research, we explain the phenomena, predict the phenomena, and control the phenomena. So in scientific research, even in natural sciences and social sciences, however, a hell of difference between the natural sciences and between the research in natural sciences and social sciences. In natural sciences, we have standard instruments, we have standard concepts to evaluate and investigate, standard instruments to investigate and evaluate the things. While in social sciences, we have to develop instruments and standard according to the requirement of the research. So in scientific research, so we explain, predict, and control the phenomena, which need a very grassroots level research. So in this manipulation and control of variables, and third, control setting. Sometimes we use the control setting to get some specific results. So it is multi-method. So testing, we test the hypothesis sometime. So data analysis, so data collection, data analysis, and data dissemination is also part of this research. The fourth, that is comparative study approach. This approach is applied, more relevant to political science, international relations, public administration, public policy, economics, and social sciences. So the foundation of this approach was laid down by Aristotle when he collected the constitutions of 122 city-states and developed or deducted his constitution from that. So there are two approaches in this, traditional approach and comparative approach. So in case of comparative approach, the popular writer or exponent of theories of this theory are David Easton, 1917 to 2014. So his books, many books, book Political System 1957 and one other book 1991. So many books about the theory of political science. However, he adopted the application of system theory, and according to him, politics is authoritative allocation of values. So, David Easton, Jabril Elmont, Sidney Verba, Roy C. McRedus, and others are exponent of this theory. So, we shall discuss in detail this approach in the second lecture of series of 2. Thank you very much